Chapter 1. Childhood. We begin with a dossier. Name, Zhu Yuanzhang. Aliases, Zhu Chongba, Su Guorui. Gender, male. Ethnicity, Han. Blood type. Education, no diploma, not a scholar, recommended man, or presented scholar, but he was self-taught later. Occupation, emperor. Family background, at least 3 generations of impoverished peasants. Lifespan, 1328 to 1398. Favorite color, yellow, seems like he had no choice. Social relations. Father, Zhu Wusi, farmer. Mother, Madam Chen, farmer. Sorry, history books seem to lack her given name. Motto, what's yours is mine, and what's mine is still mine. Major experiences. 1328 to 1344, herding cattle. 1344 to 1347, monk, primarily begging for food, well. 1347 to 1352, monk, primarily striking the bell. 1352 to 1368, rebel, this one's intense. 1368 to 1398, primarily being an emperor. Everything began on a night in 1328 when the wife of peasant Zhu Wusi, Madam Chen, gave birth to a baby boy. Everyone now knows this boy as Zhu Yuanzhang. Typically, when an emperor is born, history books document unusual phenomena. For example, there might be strong winds, heavy rain, fragrant aromas, twinkling stars, or red lights everywhere, essentially indicating that this person is extraordinary. Zhu Yuanzhang was no exception. At his birth, the ground glowed red, and strange lights appeared in the house at night, making neighbors think there was a fire and rushing to help. Ming Shi Lu. However, peasant Zhu Wusi's feelings were not like those of anxious yet joyful fathers we see today outside hospital delivery rooms. As a father of 3 sons and 2 daughters already, his primary concern was feeding them. Peasant Zhu Wusi's work consisted of 2 parts. He had a tofu shop, but primarily, he had to rely on farming the land owned by landlords to make a living. This meant that, as a member of this laboring family, survival depended on continuous work. When little Zhu Chongba was a month old, his parents gave him a name, according to Yuan custom, Zhu Chongba. This name can also be called Zubaba. Here, let's introduce the naming characteristics of the Zhu Chongba family. Great-grandfather, Zhu Bailiu. Great-granduncle, Zhu Sijiu. Grandfather, Zhu Chuyi. Father, Zhu Wusi. Such names were not because the Zhu family was into mathematics, but because in the Yuan Dynasty, common people who couldn't study or become officials didn't have proper names. They could only be named based on the sum of their parents' ages or their birth dates. Imagine how dizzy the household registrars must have been. Zhu Chongba's childhood was spent in a drafty, well-lit, broken thatched house that was cold in winter and hot in summer. His primary job was herding cattle for the landlord Liu Di's family. He once really wanted to study, but Zhu Wusi couldn't afford the tuition. He didn't have the spirit of Li Mi hanging books on cattle horns to study, nor did he have an official like Yang Xu to appreciate him. So he obediently herded cattle for Liu Di for 12 years. Because he needed to eat. At that time, Zhu Chongba's dream was to live a good life. At 16, with the help of the village matchmaker Madam Wu, he hoped to find a hardworking and capable girl as a wife, then have children who might be named Zhu San'er or Zhu Siliu. When Zhu San'er and others grew up, they would herd cattle for the landlord Liu Xiaode. This was Zhu Chongba's vision of a happy future at 16. At that time, China was under the extremely corrupt Yuan Dynasty. The Mongol conquerors didn't seem to consider the common people they ruled over as human. They often thought about killing these people occupying the land and using it for pasture. Yuan history. From taxes to corvée labor, any conceivable item was used to collect money. Festivals required festival money, working required regular money, litigation required public money. Even without any reason, money was required. Flour scattering money had to be paid. What a farce! After 60 years of rule by the horseback nation, the Yuan Empire was like an overburdened camel. waiting for the last straw. That straw came soon. 1344 was a year of special significance. In that year, heaven finally decided to abandon the Yuan Dynasty. It brought two disasters to China and dug a grave for the Yuan, writing an epitaph. A stone man with one eye causes rebellion across the land. Heaven thought it through and prepared a person to fill the grave, Zhu Chongba. Of course, Zhu Chongba wouldn't have thought that heaven would assign him such an important task. That year, he was 17. Soon, a disaster would befall him, but at the same time, a great cause awaited him. Only like the mythical phoenix, after enduring hardships and throwing himself into the fire, undergoing countless trials, could he be reborn and become a radiant divine bird. Zhu Chongba, come forth, the god of destiny is waiting for you.